there's so many ways to do CrossFit. So my thing would be, if you walk in, and still to this day, people will walk in and they see me in all spandex and I intimidate them. And so I know, and I can feel it. So I make a point to go up to them and show them my before picture. And that is what is so inspirational, because I want them to know that I did not look like this. Y'all made me look like this. I showed up like that. I showed up and did the work. So.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Davis, here with my wife, Megan Davis, and we are your hosts for the My Blank Fitness Journey podcast. During this podcast, we will reveal the secrets that we have used to help our community become more healthy, fit, and confident, and also hear from some amazing people in our community as they fill in the blank and tell us about their fitness journey. Listen in and be ready to be inspired by our guests who, just like you, are superheroes as we dive into their origin story. Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of My Blank Fitness Journey podcast. Today we've got an awesome guest, Jen Pasquale. She is one of our OGs. She's been with us from the beginning of TriForce, so we're really excited to have her on in a few minutes. But before we get to Jen, Megan, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm pretty sore from our little workout this weekend, but otherwise good.
Holy cow. Yeah. So we're preparing for Murph on Memorial Day, and we decided to just go ahead and do Murph on Sunday, and we're doing it a different way than we normally do. And wowzers, I'm really beat up from it.
It's funny how changing it just to doing the unpartitioned made it feel so much different and somehow so much harder.
Yeah, it was super fun. I mean, I was glad that we did it, but I mean, it's 2 days later, and yeah. I'm still, like, Stephanie worked on me today, or, our physical therapist spent 30 minutes making sure that my lats were still attached. So, yeah. Okay, cool. And we've got Megan's doing her age group quarterfinals starting Thursday, 2 days from now. So
Thursday.
Yeah.
We got the floor plans already, so that's fun. Yeah.
I think the workouts are going to be super fun, and I think more in Megan's wheelhouse than she expects. So we'll have an update on that next week.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
Gives me something to train for the next year for sure.
That's it, right? Like, we all have these milestones. We all have these opportunities to assess and reassess and see how we're improving. So I've seen Megan getting better over the past year. So I'm excited for you to show it in these workouts. So Megan, hit us with your nutrition tip for the week.
All right. So this week we are focusing on our relationship with food and how to have a healthier relationship with food, because we all have to eat, and your relationship with food is just like any other relationship. It takes work and it doesn't change overnight, right? It's usually something that we're all working on over our lifetime. So we have quite a few tips that we're working through at the gym, but the one that we're going to focus on this week is not labeling food as good or bad, because when we do that, we give food that moral character, and it gives it a little bit more power than it should have over us. So then suddenly, if you give into a craving and you indulge in some, junk food, it can make you feel bad if you feel that those foods are bad. And there's just no need to beat yourself up like that. So what we're trying to focus on is knowing that there's foods that are healthier for us than other foods, and that you're allowed to have any food that you want, and that we aim for moderation with it. And if you do feel that you had a little bit more of something than you meant to or than you wanted to, our goal is just to get back on track at the very next meal and to move on. So enjoy it and move on, and not worry about foods being good or bad, and just trying to be more mindful in that way so that we can all improve our relationship with food.
I think that's really cool. And I remember one of our bosses used to say the only bad foods are ones that are spoiled or that you're allergic to, right? So don't eat food that's going to make you throw up or give you hives. Otherwise, it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a good reminder, because I think everybody has emotional attachments to food in one way or the other. And so being able to break down that power that it has over us by taking down like good, bad, food's not evil. And that's going to help us, journey through the times that we make good choices, bad choices, all those things. So
Yeah, for sure. So
awesome. Okay. So today, like I said, we have Jen. She has been at the gym for over 4 years. Jen is one of like the most successful members that we've ever had as far as being able to accomplish her goals. She set some very lofty goals when she started with us and has been knocking those down ever since. She'll tell you a little bit more about her story, but it's just been a pleasure seeing Jen come in and conquer it every single day. Jen is probably the only person that I would say that loves TriForce more than Megan and I. She is a huge advocate for what we do because of the power that she's seen, that CrossFit can have in her life and is having in her friends' lives and her family. So Jen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess, first of all, this is my blank fitness journey podcast. So, let's start off with you filling in what's the blank there. Like, how would you describe your fitness journey so far?
I will, when you first asked me that, I think like, this is my sexy fitness journey. Cause like, that was the main thing for me when I started this, was to feel sexy again. So that's kind of what sticks out in my head.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jen, like from the second that we sat down and talked, like Jen was very clear about what she wanted and what she wanted to accomplish. And she's worked hard for it every single day since. It's been super cool. So, I guess fill us in before you got to TriForce, before you joined with us, kind of what was your journey like? Where were you at?
So I have two children. I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, both boys. So before I joined TriForce, that was 4.5 years ago, my kids were about 5 and 3. And that I was in a tough place because my oldest son has special needs. So we found out that he was going to be disabled, and it kind of threw me into this catapult of depression where I gained a ton of weight and I was unhealthy, and I had thrown my entire life into making sure that my kids were taken care of. I quit my career and I wanted to make sure that my child was going to thrive. They told me he wasn't going to walk and he wasn't going to talk. So my entire life's mission was to make sure that those things happened, and they did. And somewhere around that point, I had gained quite a bit of weight. I was not doing any exercise. I didn't recognize myself in the mirror anymore. I didn't even know who I was. And I was definitely depressed, but I didn't want to admit that I was depressed. And I also needed something for myself again, because I had given so much to my kids that I needed something for myself. So 2018 was the year. And I remember on January 1st, I said, this is the year of me. And my husband was like, well, what does that mean? And I was like, everything I do this year, I'm choosing myself first, because I need to take care of myself before I can do anything else. And so I walked into TriForce on January 7th, and I wasn't planning on joining that day, but I walked in and I remember meeting Chris and talking with him and crying with him. And I was like, I think this is it. So I just loved the whole feel of your place, how it felt very comfortable. It felt safe. I loved that y'all were families, like that you loved your family and that you had 2 children and that it was okay to bring kids there. And it just felt very welcoming. And it just felt like the right place for me at that time, because I needed something that was going to not only strengthen my body, but strengthen my heart. And it just felt right.
That's super cool. Yeah. The passion in which you came into, making that decision, and the the all in approach that you took was super inspirational. You're our poster child, right? Because it's one of those things where not just the results, obviously you had amazing results, and I want to get to that in a minute, but like you were all in, like doing things that you said, I don't think I can do that, or I'm scared. And like, we took you by the hand and you followed us through like uncertainty, and you were willing to put that in the work, and you did it. And, it's been really amazing getting to see how far you've come.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't know what to expect. And I remember you asked me in that first meeting, what are your 3-month goals and what are your 2-year goals? And I remember in my mind thinking 2-year goals, like, yeah, right. Like, I'm still going to be here 2 years later. I can't even think about that right now. I just need to get through this next week. And here I am 4.5 years later, and I'm still loving every second of it. But yes, I never in a million years could have pictured myself being a CrossFitter or doing CrossFit. So it is really incredible to think about the transformation that I've gone through. Yeah. And it's just incredible being able to be a part of it with you and watch TriForce grow alongside at the same time.
I think it's really cool. Like, I remember speaking into the things that like you were unsure if you'd be able to do. You were still dealing with a shoulder injury when you first started, and we're kind of thinking like, hey, I'm going to have to, lift my son. CrossFit involves a lot of shoulder movements. Like, I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to do this, but I think it was really cool seeing you trust the process and then show up every day, like just be willing to show up, and continue working on it. So, I don't know. I feel like your shoulder has gotten a lot better. Like, I don't know how would you describe your shoulder now?
Yeah. So that's a really good thing. I honestly forget about it now because it's not even part of my, like, I don't think about it, but it was chronic pain. Yeah. And I had it for several years. And I had shoulder surgery in 2006. Prior to that surgery, I had done PT for a 1.5 years, acupuncture, and nothing helped. So I had surgery. And even after the surgery, I still had 2 years of PT afterwards. And I still didn't have full mobility. I still had weakness. And so going into TriForce, part of the main reason was because you guys had physical therapy. So that was extremely important to me because I was terrified to injure my shoulder because I had gone through so much hell just to get to the point that I was at where I was maybe 75% recovered. And just learning the modifications that y'all showed me were so specific to what I needed because, when you do that on-ramping with foundations, that first 2 weeks where you teach everybody all of the movements and help make it personal to them. So I knew I couldn't do pull-ups or push-ups or anything like that. I was far from that. And all of the modifications kept me safe. And then having the physical therapist there to work on me was key because we laugh now because I've seen Stephanie, who's one of the physical therapists there for several years now. And she started working on my other shoulder because I started to feel a similar kind of pain. And literally within one session, she worked on it and the pain was completely gone. And I said to her, I was like, damn, I wish I had known back in 2006. I wouldn't have probably needed surgery because I have no shoulder pain because of her. So, because of TriForce as a whole, helping me modify, and then Stephanie helping me, keep myself safe.
That's great.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So you've kind of got a multi-layered, resume of goals that you've achieved and like accomplishments, so I guess just work us through some of those milestones that you've hit. You've already talked about overcoming, your shoulder pain. What are some of the other things that you've been able to accomplish along the way?
Oh man, there's just so many.
Right.
I guess my first goal when I started and set foot in there was just to go 3 times a week for 6 months And that was my commitment. I committed to myself that no matter what, I was going to show up 3 times a week for 6 months, and then I would reassess how I felt. So when I signed up for a 6-month agreement because I knew that if I paid for 6 months, that I would go for 6 months. And by the time I was finished with 3 months, I had already seen major gains in strength and muscle mass. And I had already lost probably, I don't even know, but probably at least 20 pounds. So I was feeling really good already about myself, which motivated me. And then I started going 4 days a week. And that was all I was doing, was just showing up and going to the classes 4 days a week, which was 1 hour, 4 times a week. So 4 hours of my life literally changed everything. And then my first goal, my ultimate goal, was to get to 160 pounds. Like, that was in my head, was the pounds, because that's all I knew at the time, was just a scale number. And then enters Megan, who is my nutritionist. And I had such an unhealthy relationship with food. And for me, it was either diet or eat whatever I want, or eat like crap. Diet, crash diet, or eat whatever I want like crap. And Megan, through a series of meetings with her, taught me how to transition from doing keto and, dieting to eating healthy, normal, full rounded meals and still losing weight, which was like mind blowing to me because I've never been able to do that in my entire life. So around the 8-month mark was when I started adding nutrition counseling into my journey. And that, I think, is what really catapulted me into the next level, because I was able to go, actually live my life and not completely obsess about food and what I was eating and putting into my body. And still now, to this day, 3 years later, I'm still implementing all of the things that I've learned, which has helped me hit more milestones. So my first milestone, I would say, was getting through the 6 months. Then my second milestone was the nutrition. And then my third milestone was when I turned 40 years old and I had lost 60 pounds and I felt so amazing. So that was 2 years into my journey. And then
wait. So I just want to say that again. 60 pounds. Like, that's, that's no weight loss surgery. There's no magic pill. That was not, which is another story, I guess. But this was Jen coming in, exercising and eating healthy food and losing 60 pounds. That's amazing. All right. Sorry. I just had to, like, I don't think that we highlight that enough. That's really awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it really is incredible when I think about it. I still can't believe it. And I still can't believe that it's still every day. Like, it's just who I am now, right? It's not even there. I just live this now. It's just part of me. But yeah, so it was absolutely incredible hitting that. That was one of my main goals, was to be it was hashtag fit at 40 was my saying. And I wanted to be fit at 40. I see people fit and eating normal food all around me. And I was like, how is that possible? I want to be that person. I know that it's possible. So that was around the 2-year mark. And then my next goal was just to push myself to the point where I was really in a size that I was happy with, and getting to a size 8 was kind of my happy place. I was never a stick figure girl. I always liked curves and being voluptuous, I guess is the word. But so for me, hitting around that size was important to me, and keeping that like feminine look to my body was really important. And yeah, so I mean, now it's 4 years later, I still make goals for myself, but they're maybe not as crazy, but they're still little goals. Like right now, I'm working on my butt for the summer. So I've added in a little 6-week booty pump thing to help add to that. So the coaches have been helping me with that. Alyssa programmed something for me. So hopefully I'll have a nice juicy booty for the summer.
Awesome. So it really has been a sexy fitness journey for you so far.
Definitely. Yes.
That's awesome. So
yeah,
cool.
I would say goal achieved.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
and another goal was to be able to wear all spandex and feel very confident in it. And I can check that off now.
I think it's great because I do remember when we sat down and we're talking and you were like, I still want to be soft and I want to be like, not, I'm afraid of looking like a CrossFit athlete, and I thought that was great because you let us know like what was important to you. And, you've still been able to reach goals and like keep things that are important to you, And so I do think that really shows that kind of like customized, like the way that it works for everyone, right? And that it can be customized like that. But I also think about some really cool things that you did. Like you have the shirt that now looks like a dress on you that you would take regular progress pictures in, and how amazing it was to see. And then like now I love getting to see you wear like outfits that you love, like you look amazing in them. You're having so much fun buying, clothes, like you said, that you feel confident in. And it's like, it's just really cool. I love being able to enjoy you reaching your goals with you. Like, it's just really fun.
Yes, thank you. And it's interesting what you just said too, Megan, because it is a huge point to bring up about what my goals were physically, because that was one of the main things that kept me from starting CrossFit to begin with.
Yeah.
Because I had considered doing CrossFit for about a year prior to actually joining, because my brother did CrossFit. And I watched his transformation, but I saw him go to these competitions and I saw all these athletes that were really ripped. And I'm thinking, I don't want to look like that. And there's no way in hell I can do that. But that's what was so cool to me, and that I didn't know. And I had to learn after I set foot into CrossFit and learned how it actually happens, especially at TriForce, because you guys really do nurture and a culture of for anybody. And that was so critical to me to learn that you don't have to be like that. There's so many layers of CrossFit and so many different ways to do CrossFit. And I mean, I work out next to a guy who's like 76 years old and he's still kicking butt. And I want to be like that, when I'm 76. So, but I think it's really important for people to know that you don't have to, you can do CrossFit and be healthy and fit. You don't have to be a competitor and all ripped. There's so many different ways to do CrossFit.
For sure.
I think that's great. Jen is kind of the queen of the 9 o'clock class. I mean, I can send literally anybody that I meet off the street that I want to try TriForce and say, hey, come to 9 o'clock. Jen, I know, will be there to say hello, and she'll strike up a conversation with the person and make them feel comfortable, which is great. So that 9 o'clock class, remember
rowdy is a word that comes to mind.
Remember that we are going to keep this podcast in the non-explicit category.
If anybody watching this knows me, they know me, so it's okay.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about that class as far as like the different types of people, the different levels of athletes, what makes it a fun class for you to keep coming back to?
Yeah, okay. So when I first started, I guess what I didn't expect was that I was going to find some of my best friends at CrossFit. And I had thought I had already found all of my friends that I was going to have by the time I turned 40, right? So that was very unexpected, because there are certain girls there that have become literally like my best friends. And that is critical to me in the journey of CrossFit, because having that accountability and making it fun is what I love about CrossFit and your gym specifically. So the 9 a.m. class, there's a whole group that they come pretty much every day, and we just have a blast together. And the 9 a.m. group tends to be slightly more estrogen loaded. So it just happens to be that way because you have a lot of moms there. And then we have several guys that come, but the guys that come they just go right into it, and they understand that, that there's a bunch of moms in there. And so the conversations go all across the board. So it's very entertaining. So if for nothing nothing else, if people want to just come to a class at TriForce just to be entertained by me and the rest of the people, please come.
Sometimes I just get a snack and go out there and sit and watch and listen. And it's better entertainment than Netflix or going to a movie for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and there's definitely a whole, like, there's a lot. I mean, there you have the moms, but then we have our guys that come too, but they join in the fun, and there's a lot of like little jokes and, like teasing each other and, just encouragement. So it starts to become like a family. So whenever we see a new face, we, try to include them and make sure that they feel welcome and that they know that we've all started at a certain point. You don't have to come in there and, go crazy, that we've all been there at day one. So it's very supportive.
I think that's definitely something that I see as well. Like you said, supportive, because I know that, like you said, you've been with us for 4.5 years. There's a lot of life that has happened in 4.5 years, and it makes me happy when I see, you or one of your friends come in and, I can see that something's off, right? Like, we get to see each other every day. So it's pretty obvious when, something is going on in one of our lives. And I think it's really cool to see you guys, come around each other and talk through, fight through, work through, like whatever needs to be worked through. And because you do have that care for each other, those relationships built. And it's like, seeing that you guys have created like such good relationships that you do have that support for not only your fitness journey, but, some of the other things that happen in life that we all need support for as well. I think that is what makes CrossFit classes maybe a little bit harder sometimes, and also like special, is that you don't just come in and jump in your square. Like, you're known and people, and I think that that's a benefit. It's something that's really special about the classes, is that you do get to know each other on that personal level. You do get involved in each other's lives, which can be just really awesome. And I see you guys enjoying that, which makes me really happy.
Yes. And one of the things to mention is since joining CrossFit, I had 2 surgeries, but those were more personal choice surgeries. And there's literally no possible way that I would have made it through those surgeries without TriForce and the support of the members of TriForce. Like, there's literally no way. They came to my house and made me walk and brought me healthy food and forced me to get back into the gym. And even when I went back, it was I could barely even stand up straight. And so if I can go back to CrossFit and basically start from day one doing CrossFit with a walker where I can't even stand up straight, literally anyone can do CrossFit. So just tells you right there the modifications that are available. And the coaches, specifically Alyssa, who coaches me a lot at 9am, was critical in helping me with the modifications to build back my strength in order to be able to walk and squat and lunge and move my body again. So it was literally I would not have made it through without TriForce.
And those kind of things are so overwhelming. Like you said, like some of those things happen in life where, it's in your control, it's not in your control. But like you said, it feels like from zero,
Yes.
And it can be very overwhelming and very frustrating. And that is an easy point to quit, and I think it's a testament to you. And like you said, like, I think that's one of the goals, or one of our like things that we love seeing happen, is that like your class and your coach didn't let you quit, like they're like,
no way.
We have to have our Jen in here. And so like, I just think that that's really cool. Seeing you go through that. And then, like you said, like seeing that your body responded really well to the surgeries because you had put in so much effort and so much consistency and taking care of yourself, it gives you, it kind of leading into one of the things that we always like to ask people is, what would you say is your superpower? Your real life superpower.
My real life superpower. I mean, it has to be tied to my son, because advocated, and I still do. I mean, I fight constantly for him, and it's not physical fight, it's an emotional fight. And I have to fight everything to get him the services and everything he needs to thrive. And so my superpower is probably just being a crazy mom. I mean, I don't know how to label that specifically, like a proper label to that, but my superpower is probably advocating for my children.
That's the word I would use for you as an advocate. Like you advocate for Gunnar, for Dami, for people in the gym, for people's families in the gym, for people you don't know. Like I 100% agree with that. Like we need to change your Wonder Woman outfit to an Wonder Advocate outfit or something. I don't know. That's weird, but yeah, I agree. That's great. Cool. So, what is one thing that you would say, like, somebody's on the fence, they're trying to decide, hey, is TriForce a good choice for me? Maybe I look different than the people that are in the gym, or I feel like I have different goals, or I don't think that I can actually do CrossFit. What's your piece of advice to somebody that's on the fence?
Well, first of all, I had every single thought that you just said in my head. So I know you're seeing me now 4.5 years later, but I'm happy to share my before pictures with anyone who wants to see them, so that you can see that I was that person. If you can just picture a mom who was 65 pounds heavier, and just depressed. And there's so many ways to do CrossFit. So my thing would be, if you walk in, and still to this day, people will walk in and they see me in all spandex and I intimidate them. And so I know, and I can feel it. So I make a point to go up to them and show them my before picture. And that is what is so inspirational, because I want them to know that I did not look like this. Y'all made me look like this. I showed up like that. I showed up and did the work. So you don't go into a CrossFit gym and look at everyone and judge yourself on their chapter 20. You walk in, it's your chapter 1. I had a chapter 1. I'm just on my chapter 20. So you have to start. If you want to get to chapter 20, you have to start at chapter 1. So I think that's probably the most important thing, is don't judge yourself based on the people that are there, because they've already had a journey. And if you see someone who intimidates you physically or makes you nervous, find out what their chapter 1 was, because I guarantee you it will shock you and it will inspire you.
So good. That's so good.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me how many times I have people that, maybe they like put in on the website or something, hey, I'm interested in coming in. I want to find out more information. And then they get nervous and back out, and they're like, hey, I think I need to get in better shape before I come do CrossFit. I'm like, come on. Like, that's like saying, hey, I know I'm sick, but before I go to the doctor, I probably need to get a little bit better before I go to the doctor. Like you said, don't think that you need to be at chapter 20, like Jen was talking about. You're where you're at, and you know where you want to go. Let us help you, and let the 9 o'clock class help you, and let people like Jen help you accomplish those goals. Because like we already talked about, we're going to drag you along. We're going to get you to where you want to be. Sometimes it might not be fun. There's going to be a day when you're like, I don't want to go to the gym, but my friends are expecting me. If I don't show up, I'm going to get 20 texts saying, what happened? Did I run out of gas on the way to the gym? Because, you're there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. If it's a Wednesday, I'm like, where's Jen? Oh yeah, today's her off day, right? Like, people know, and people are going to expect you to be there. So absolutely. That's super cool. Jen, as we're wrapping up, is there anything else that you feel like is super important about your fitness journey so far, or even where you're going next?
I think we covered a lot of stuff. I mean, the most important thing that I want to relay to people is that it's truly for anyone. And I wish that if you don't know me, I wish that you could see where I started so that you can literally see that this is truly for every single person. Over the course of 4.5 years, I've seen so many people come through TriForce and watch their journeys. And it's really remarkable because every body shape, every age, every walk of life is in TriForce. And it really, truly is for anyone. And I don't know why the term CrossFit has such a bad rep, because as far as people think that you have to be a certain way to go in there, because I thought the same thing, but it's not like that. So that's the most important thing that I would say to people is make a commitment to X amount of months and don't falter and show up, and your life will change.
I love that. Like you said, making a commitment, because that's what I've seen you do. You've made a commitment. Like, your birthday money went to your CrossFit membership, like you were planning, you planned outings, like, how am I going to eat? Like, so that I stick to my goals. Like, you plan your week around when you're coming to CrossFit. Like, you've made like your health, a priority. And you committed to yourself to do that. But like you said, you don't have to do it all at once. You do it 1 week at a time or 3 months at a time. You break it up. But like, I do think, like you said, that it takes that commitment, but it's so worth it. Like, and it's worth it.
Yes, definitely. Check in with me in 6 weeks so I can tell you about my booty, how good my booty looks.
Yes, that we'll do the follow-up short episode of how's Jen's booty pump going. Yeah, that might be probably our best episode so far. So, awesome, Jen. Well, we appreciate you so much. Thanks for being on. This was super fun.
I love y'all so much.
Oh, we love you too. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of My Blank Fitness Journey podcast. If this story inspired you, make sure that you like and subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're using. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can check us out at TriForceCrossFit.com. Just send us a message and we'd love to help you. See you guys soon on the next episode.